Hey guys, welcome back to the Way to Arete podcast. Today we'll be talking about how doing hard things actually makes life easier. Essentially, we've spent a great part of our lives avoiding discomfort, the hard workouts, the conversations, the discipline. And the paradox with this is that the more you avoid hard things, the harder life becomes. And we want to discuss about that and share some of our perspectives and what we've experienced with that.
Yeah.
So,
I used to think that in order to make my life easier, I had to just get rid of all my problems. All the things that I didn't like doing or were hard, just get rid of them.
yeah, but that sounds like the right thing to do, though.
It sounds like it. But then if you go one layer deeper, you realize that the way you make life easier isn't by avoiding problems, because problems are always going to be there. It's about deliberately going through discomfort, getting stronger, building resilience, and ultimately you're able to go through and endure hardship a lot better, and life gets easier because it doesn't feel as hard anymore. Problems don't feel like problems anymore, or at least the size of them gets reduced.
Okay, that's an interesting perspective. That essentially what happens is you're doing things that are harder. As we would say in sports, like you will compete as you train. So the harder you train, the more prepared you will be, and the easier the game will be.
Exactly.
So that's kind of like how it works.
Exactly. And it's not just motivational fluff that you hear online. People telling you, "Oh, just work harder. Do this, go do hard things, suffer now, freedom later." It's actually backed by science. There's a part of your brain called the aMCC. So it stands for the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, I believe. And they've shown that this part of your brain actually can grow a little bit denser and bigger every time you do something that you didn't want to do. Every time you endure hardship, you have a tough conversation, or you do a hard workout, every time you do that and you push through, it grows denser.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So it is actually backed by science that the more things that you do that are hard that you don't really want to do, the more you grow, like you physically evolve.
Exactly. Just like the more you shoot a basketball, the better you get at shooting, the more you do hard things, the better you get at dealing with hardship.
Yeah, I mean, putting it like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So essentially we're talking about have friction now, freedom later.
Exactly.
If we can put in a punchline.
Yeah.
Friction now, freedom later. Let's try to put that into a more of a day-to-day life for somebody who's watching this or listening to this. Give us some thoughts from your life. What is something that you've done that was hard and that you've implemented this doing on a daily basis or whatever it might have been that has actually helped you become more disciplined and handle hardships better?
Fitness has always been integral for me to doing hard things, because you don't always feel like working out. There have been plenty of times where I didn't want to do it, but I pushed through, or I made the workout intentionally intense, and I endured it. And every time I did, it became a little bit easier to deal with it, and it gave me confidence. And ever since I started doing kickboxing as well, I've noticed I've been more resilient, and it's really helped me deal with hardship, things that might come up in my life. I find it easier to deal with them and still be happy because I've been in a lot of situations where I'm fighting someone. And at first, that was really, really tough for me, of course. But the more you do it, you get better at kickboxing, but at the same time, you get better at dealing with your emotions. And that's why I really like martial arts in general, and kickboxing especially, because it is, for me, the best simulation of real life. Because you're going to get punched, life's going to punch you in the face, it's going to knock you down, and it's all about how many times you can get back up and keep on fighting. keep on going.
Awesome.
And ever since I realized that, now I've been deliberately putting myself in tough situations. For example, I always try to have work towards a big goal, a big challenge. For example, I was supposed to do a kickboxing fight, didn't happen. Then I signed up to a marathon. I'm going to do the Athens Marathon in November. And then the opportunity came up for me to do a boxing fight also in November. So now I'm training for both the marathon and the kickboxing fight.
That's
It's
going to
going
be
to be fun.
Is it?
What about you?
Well, for me, a very small thing, since you mentioned that, I wanted to kind of like remind me of something I used to do for a few months, and it actually helped. I don't know the scientific effects of this, but for a brief amount of time, for a brief period in my life, I was doing a cold shower every morning. And it wasn't for the cold shower. I don't know if it helped me physically. I don't know much about that, and I don't recommend somebody does it for any physical advantages. But the thing was that if I did that at 7 a.m. in the morning or whenever I had to do it, then when I would go to work later, then a tough email or a tough conversation or something I had to handle just seemed that much less important, that much less, not scary, but like
Difficult.
intimidating. Because this morning I literally woke up, I didn't want to do it. It was freezing outside, and I got under cold water. So you do that, it's a win. It builds your confidence, and then you go about your day with a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
So definitely that. But what I meant to say,
that's also that's something difficult for you in that moment.
Oh,
so
100%, it still is.
That also contributes towards your aMCC growing.
It is difficult, and the great thing about cold showers, if you guys want to try them, go ahead. It's not advice, but what I got from that also is that they don't get easier. That's the good thing about that, because a lot of times when I work out, so if I try to do a workout, it's easier than it would have been when I first started.
Yeah, it's not as difficult anymore.
It's not as difficult anymore. And of course you can always push more, but even if you don't push too much, you still get benefits. So there's a lot of room to not really push. So and it's become easier. But with cold showers, doesn't matter how long you do them, they're still just cold every morning.
It always sucks.
It always sucks. And that is the differentiation that I believe a lot of people should look for things that are going to be difficult, and you won't ever want to do them.
Yeah.
Nobody ever wants to do a cold shower.
Yeah.
Unless it's freaking hot outside. But look for those things, because if it gets easier, I remember, I think I've read about this. You can confirm, tell me if it's true 100% or not. But if you do something that you actually want to do it, although it's physically demanding,
yeah,
you don't really get the same effect.
No, exactly. Yeah, the aMCC, you won't have that neurological effect or even physiological on your brain. It's not going to grow.
It actually grows when you do things you don't want to do.
Yes, things that you have to push through.
So the cold shower, the main thing, and the other one, I would say, because it's more attainable for a lot more people, and something I'm sure everybody struggles with. I did for a long time, and it's having the difficult conversations. So I've had 2 occasions where not having a difficult conversation cost me a lot more than it would have if I did have the conversation. So I lost on a big opportunity, and on the second occasion, I also lost money because I didn't have a conversation. That then led to a lot of things being delayed. That then it cost me a lot of money.
Why did you avoid that conversation?
It was just something I didn't want to deal with. It was uncomfortable. It was about some kind of bill or something. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it's just something that you don't want to do.
It would have made you uncomfortable.
It would have made me uncomfortable, yeah. And I didn't want to do that in the moment. I had excuses in my mind of saying, oh, I'll just do it later, or this is more important now. Well, a phone call would have taken 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You can definitely find those 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just the feeling that you're trying to avoid. And that's what I was doing, and it cost me money, cost me an opportunity. So I vowed never to do that again. And every time I have the time and I need to have a conversation I don't want to have, it's so much more worth it to do that.
Yeah.
So the cold shower and having tough conversations. So a physical one and a emotional, mental one.
Yeah. I think I really like the fact that you also mentioned the emotional one, because that often gets overlooked. It's not just about the physical, the workouts, the cold showers, the meditations, or the 10-hour morning routines people preach. It's half of it is emotional. Having the tough conversations with
I would argue it's
people
more.
at work. More half. At the end of the day, you need both. You can't just do one
Yeah,
or the other.
100%.
You need both. And whether it's with someone at work or a loved one, your relationship, having those tough conversations feels like such a huge barrier. But after you do it, you realize that, okay, actually, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, and if anything, you have good. There was something that came out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's probably still always going to be tough.
Yeah.
Certain conversations will always be tough, no matter how many times you have them.
I believe it's easier to train your body to adapt to difficult things, to hardships,
100%.
than it is to train your mind.
Yeah.
Your mind will always be there and will have all these tricks that is going to play to you to steer clear of those challenges, but your body adapts so much faster.
Exactly.
The problem with going to the cold shower wasn't that it was too cold for me to handle and I was gonna have a problem, but it was literally right before I got into it.
Exactly.
The mental side of things. The conversation is nothing physical; it's just the mental side of things. The workout is easier for me than having the conversation, even now.
But now you know that every time you have that, you hear that voice in your head that says, "I don't want to work out today," or "It's cold, I'm tired, I don't want to get in the shower." Every time you overcome that fear and you push through, something biologically changes in your brain and adapts, and you
that's
get
awesome
better.
to know.
Yeah. And what's also interesting about doing the cold shower in the morning, it's also scientifically proven that things that cause stress in the morning, like a cold shower or a workout, for example, it regulates your cortisol levels or sorry, not regulates, it calibrates your nervous system to those cortisol levels. So because even if it's a workout, it's still stress for your body. Cold shower is still stress. So by having that release early in the morning, your system is calibrated to this level. So anything else that happens the rest of your day, an angry email, your boss gets mad at you, someone shouts at you, someone cuts you off in traffic, anything else, your body will deal with it much better because you'll already be set at this level.
That's a great point. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So doing hard things in the morning is even better.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. So I'd like to also tie this back to some nuggets from ancient Greece, or history actually. I know that, for example, the Spartans were very big on doing hard things, right?
Yeah.
And you're actually from a region.
Yeah, I'm actually from there, and I mean, half of my family is from literally like right outside Sparta, from one of the villages, and the other half is from further down, an area called Mani, which we recently went to. And
is Leonidas your ancestor?
I mean, I hope so. But essentially what they were doing in ancient Sparta is they would follow this. They had these rituals that they celebrated hardships because they understood that hardships created strong men, and strong men could protect and help the city, the state
when there's
Sparta.
war.
And also help it grow as well. So the hardships that they used, there were simple things like they would sleep on the floor with no blankets and outside. They would do things like that. Today is crazy to even
Nobody's
think about.
doing that.
Nobody's doing that. But it was regular, and kids, like boys, would join the army at 7 years old. Which is 7 years old, they would be enlisted.
Wow.
Of course, to be trained, right? They wouldn't fight at 7, but they would start their training at 7 years old. And they, at this age, 7, 8, they would send them out in the woods with nothing, with malnourished. They had to sleep on the floor. There was all these hardships because they wanted to teach them how to, first of all, endure those, make them tougher, and also teach them resourcefulness.
Yeah.
Because they told them you can do anything. You can even steal food. Come back to the city and steal food if you can. But if you get caught, it was the worst thing you can do. There was like torture. There was but they told them, They left them malnourished. They told them figure it out at this age. So that builds so much confidence and so much strength.
Yeah.
And they were doing that in Sparta because it was obvious that this was the way to go if you wanted to become stronger.
A strong warrior, yeah.
Yeah.
And that might sound harsh. If that sounds harsh to someone, just you also have to realize that they literally had to fight.
Oh yeah.
Right? They needed to be that's compared to fighting. That's nothing.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
like the lowest form of
You would
of
have
discipline and
you had to go. You knew that there was a war coming, or there was already a war that you had to prepare for, and the wars then lasted years. It wasn't that it was a war for a month. There were wars that lasted decades.
Yeah.
So these kids, these soldiers, they were getting ready for that, and of course, sleeping out in the woods with some wildlife around you, with no blanket, is nothing when you have to actually go and fight other people and see your fellow soldiers dying right next to you. The famous saying also from ancient Sparta is, when their mothers actually send off their kids to war, and they said, "Come back with your shield or on top of it," meaning that because in quick little detour from that, in ancient Sparta, they had this shield that was so big, but it was made to not cover yourself. It was covering half of yourself and half of the other person next to you.
Okay.
That's why the Spartans they were so successful, because they had this team, the teamwork. They would move as a unit, and it was like thousands or hundreds of them. They would move as one. So the shield covered the person next to you, and then the person next to you covered you, and so you trusted the person next to you to cover you, and that's why the shield was the most important thing in ancient Sparta, because if you dropped it, somebody else would die.
Somebody else will die.
Yeah, and that was the worst thing. I don't know the word in English, but in Greek, ripsaspis. If you drop the shield, it's the most humiliating thing that you can do. Don't go back to Sparta. They won't accept you.
Essentially, they had a word for someone who dropped his shield.
Who dropped the shield, yeah. And that just shows how important those things were to them, and how much they had calloused their minds to be at that level, that elite level.
And they knew something, because if I'm not mistaken, that region was the only region that didn't get conquered throughout Greek history, right?
Well,
for the majority of it.
They were the most feared warriors, let's say.
You've got the 300.
Yeah, they were the most feared warriors for the majority of time. It wasn't that they never lost. Obviously, at some point things evolved. Other civilizations had more advanced technology. Then you had the Macedonians that came in with the spears. There are a lot of things that happened after that. That, of course, the Sparta's reign. Obviously, they were at the top for a good amount of time. Then, of course, they dropped off. But
they were famous
for that time. They were the most feared warriors in the known world, in Greece at least.
Yeah,
and they obviously they knew something. And today you don't have to do those things, because you're not going to go to war, hopefully. And if you go to war, it's not at that level. But imagine if they did those things to become so good at that. Now imagine if you do a percentage of what they did, and you apply it to your life.
Yeah,
what you can achieve, how disciplined, how calloused you can become.
Exactly. And it's not only the Spartans that did it. There's loads of examples throughout history. I read Meditations, which is the journal of Marcus Aurelius, arguably at some point one of the most powerful people of the whole world, because he was the emperor of the whole Roman Empire.
Wasn't it written in Greek as well?
I believe it was written in Greek. And one of my favorite reads of all time, it's not a book, it's literally the journal of Marcus Aurelius. So you can see and read exactly all of the thoughts this man has on a daily basis. Wow, he's the most powerful person in the entire world. It's so interesting. I would recommend it to everyone. And he mentions it a lot about how enduring hardship helps you go through life a lot easier, and it makes you happier. And he even had a quote at some point. He was talking about lying in bed, and he said something along the lines of, when you're in bed and you're nice and comfortable it's warm and you don't want to wake up in the morning, he prompts you to ask yourself, like, is this really what you're put on this earth to do? Like just lie in bed and comfort all day. You can see the ants, the bees, the elephants, all the other animals are doing their job. What are you doing? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to?
Yeah.
And also Seneca, one of the other great Stoics, he also used to sleep on a hard floor. He didn't have to fight, but he still did it.
Yeah. Again, if you can only lead others to the what's the saying? You can only lead others to the extent that you can lead yourself.
Yeah.
So the people that really had an ambition to do something more than just exist, and especially even back in the day, they understood that you had to conquer your mind to the extreme, so you're able to become the person you need to become.
Yeah.
If you're not able to control your mind to as far as what you're going to eat, what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, then you're not going to be able to lead anybody, or you're not going to be able to advance and grow.
Yeah. And you set the example for your family, your friends. And I like that you said that. Let's finish off with, I want to ask you, what are 3 things people can do to when it comes to doing hard things in the areas of physical, mental, and emotional?
Emotional, okay. Honestly, those will be
physical, I guess, working out.
Yeah, physical,
Easiest
working
thing to
out,
do.
but switching it up. Don't do things that you're comfortable doing all the time. For example, I love training like squats and things like that because I like doing that for basketball and this and that. But don't stick to those. I know
if you always do squats because you like them.
I'm saying this, of course, always with thinking how you're going to improve and how you're going to grow and how you're going to be able to adapt, grow your aMCC. And I understand that when I'm doing the things I like all the time, I'm not really challenging myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So find some kind of workout that you don't really enjoy doing and do that, and switch it up, obviously, with things that you don't enjoy. Pick up a challenge like you did. For example, I need to also run the marathon. Probably not going to be this one, obviously, but I do it because I hate running. I hate it with a burning passion. So that shows me I need to do it. Yeah. I also hate like doing distance swimming.
Yeah.
I have to do that as well. So find things you don't really like doing and say, I'm going to do that. With physical, it's pretty easy, I believe. Mental, very, very easy way to do it is just cold shower. I'm saying this is mental because
but it is.
Everybody's thinking, oh, but you physically go into cold water. It's more of a mental thing than it is physical. From my experience.
Yeah. And emotional?
Emotional, I think the conversations. I mean, I know we've said those things already, but I believe they will be they're the key points to this, because most people can relate to those. I'm sure everybody has a conversation they've been avoiding, or they completely disregarded. Just have that conversation with a friend, with a loved one, at work.
Yeah.
Go in at work, ask for that promotion if obviously everything else makes sense. You don't want to do it because you think they won't accept you, or you're afraid of something. If everything else points that direction, go and do it. Maybe the only thing that's keeping you from getting that promotion is you actually going for that.
Having the talk.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with this, right? Never had any experience with talking on camera or being on camera. It was something hard. Part of the reason why I want to do it is just another hard thing to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and it's not that hard at the end of the day. Like, honestly, it's getting
But
easier.
in your mind, it's hard.
Before I started, it was very hard.
It is.
What do you do? But if you're confident in what you want to do and you're like, I'm doing this for this reason and that reason, then it's just a mental thing, an emotional thing.
You're forcing yourself to get better at it, and it is, talking in front of the camera is one of the things that does get better with time. Awesome. Those are great tips. Very implementable, people, and actionable. People can implement right away. I think it's also important for people to realize that, or I should say, one thought I had that really changed my life was that no one is coming to save me. When I was I used to, like you said, I used to avoid discomfort. I wanted comfort. I wanted to be, I didn't want to wake up early. I wasn't motivated to work out. As soon as I realized that no one else is going to do the work for me, no one's going to grab me by the hand and push me and drag me to getting better.
Absolutely.
As soon as I realized that, my life changed, because I started taking ownership of my life. I started holding myself accountable for the things that were happening to me. I was holding myself responsible. And as soon as I did that, suddenly I seem lucky. People say, oh, you're so lucky to, or they tell me, oh, you're so natural when you talk in your reels, the reels I make on Instagram, you're such a natural. And I say, oh, thanks. But in my mind, I'm like, I've recorded thousands of videos by now. It's not natural. It's just doing the habit that you want to do consistently for a long enough period of time, and you will get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you don't follow these let's say not instructions, but like, these advice, these pieces of advice to the T, obviously, and you just take something away from this, is that the easy life is a trap. You might think that you have a nice life because you're just coasting through, you're having fun, but in a way that it's more of, you're using vices to have fun. You're doing things that are easy to do. It's a trap. I've been there. I felt that. I've experienced at the end what the trap was. Looking back and saying, why did I not do those things that I was supposed to do? So, if you want to take it from me, from my experience, that easy life is a huge trap, and it distracting you from the things that you could be doing, and you actually, if you sat down with yourself, you would want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not sure what exactly you need to be doing in your life or want to do, we'll link our episode on finding your purpose in the description.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can also just seek hard things. Whatever seems like, as soon as you say, oh, I don't want to do this, obviously, if it's just because it's hard, just do it. I just start with something simple.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be something that's a ritual that you build into it. Find something hard every day, and as soon as you find a few things that match your routine, that they're easy to fit in your routine but hard to do.
Yeah.
You have a couple of things, you do them immediately.
If you think something is hard, just do it.
Just do it.
Until next time.